Today we uncover a gripping story of betrayal and murder that took place in Fayetteville, Arkansas, in April 2015. This is the tragic tale of Johnny Ray Baxter, a successful real estate agent whose life was violently ended by someone he deeply trusted. Johnny Ray Baxter was a 45-year-old resident of Fayetteville, Arkansas. He was a well-known real estate agent at a local firm, Ozark Realty. Johnny Ray's big smile and friendly demeanor made him a favorite among clients and colleagues alike. He held a degree in business administration from the University of Arkansas and had been in the real estate business for over 20 years. Johnny Ray was married to Darlene Baxter, and together they appeared to be a happy couple. Johnny Ray was Darlene's second husband. He had a stepdaughter named Lily Adams, an 18-year-old in her first year at the University of Arkansas, studying psychology. To outsiders, it seemed that Johnny Ray had a good relationship with Lily. Outside of work, Johnny Ray loved sailing. He owned a small sailboat called Dreamcatcher, which he frequently took out on Beaver Lake. He cherished spending weekends on the water, enjoying the wind and the waves. His friends at the local marina remembered him as someone who was always willing to lend a hand and share a laugh. In the days leading up to his death, Johnny Ray was busy with a major property deal. He was working hard to finalize the sale of a large commercial property in downtown Fayetteville. This deal was crucial for his career. He was also planning a surprise anniversary trip for Darlene. He had reserved a cabin in the Ozark Mountains and purchased tickets for a concert in Little Rock. He even selected a special necklace from a local jewelry store, Sissy's Log Cabin, as a gift for Darlene. Despite his busy schedule, Johnny Ray always made time to visit the local coffee shop, our Sagas, every morning. He enjoyed reading the newspaper and chatting with the baristas. His favorite drink was a caramel latte. On April 10, 2015, just 2 days before his death, Johnny Ray was seen at our Sagas smiling and talking about his weekend plans. He seemed happy and excited about the future. On the surface, Johnny Ray's life appeared perfect, but there were underlying issues. His wife, Darlene, had been increasingly stressed and concerned. She had observed changes in their daughter, Lily, and was wary of Johnny Ray's late-night work meetings. Friends and neighbors began to notice the tension in the Baxter household. On April 12, 2015, around 7:30 a.m., Johnny Ray Baxter's body was found by his neighbors, Michael Everly. Michael, a 52-year-old retired schoolteacher living next door to the Baxters, was contacted by Darlene. She had not heard from Johnny Ray since the previous night and, being out of town visiting her sister, asked Michael to check on him. Michael knocked on the door of the Baxter house but received no response. Noticing Johnny Ray's car in the driveway, he decided to try the door and found it unlocked. As he stepped inside, Michael immediately sensed something was wrong. The house was unusually quiet. He called out for Johnny Ray but received no reply. He walked through the living room and into the kitchen, noticing signs of a struggle, overturned chairs and broken glass on the floor. Following the trail of chaos to the master bedroom, he opened the door and was met with a gruesome sight. Johnny Ray was lying on the floor in a pool of blood. He had been bludgeoned to death with a hammer, which lay nearby, also covered in blood. The room was in disarray, with blood spattered on the walls and furniture. It was evident that Johnny Ray had fought for his life. Michael, horrified, quickly backed out of the room, his hands shaking. He pulled out his cell phone and dialed 911, his voice trembling as he described the gruesome scene. The 911 operator tried to keep Michael calm, instructing him to stay on the line until the police arrived. News of Johnny Ray's death quickly spread through the neighborhood. Maple Street was soon crowded with police cars, and curious neighbors gathered outside, whispering about the shocking event. Local news stations like KSM and KN2 sent reporters to cover the story, and by noon, it was the top news in Fayetteville. Michael, who had been friends with Johnny Ray for years, was in shock. He never imagined finding his neighbor and friend dead in such a brutal way. He later told reporters that Johnny Ray was a good man who didn't deserve such a terrible fate. The discovery of Johnny Ray Baxter's body marked the start of a complex and tragic investigation that would uncover hidden secrets and lead to shocking revelations about those closest to him. The police arrived swiftly at the Baxter home following Michael Everly's 911 call on April 12, 2015. The first officers on the scene secured the area, ensuring that no one could enter or leave the house. Soon after, Detective Sarah Mitchell Kinsey, and Detective James Carter arrived to lead the investigation. Detective Sarah Mitchell Kinsey was known for her sharp mind and meticulous attention to detail. At 38, she had successfully solved many challenging cases. Her partner, Detective James Carter, 42, was recognized for his methodical approach. Together, they formed a strong team. As the detectives walked through the house, they observed signs of a struggle, overturned chairs and broken glass in the living room. The kitchen was even more chaotic, with dishes scattered across the floor. When they reached the master bedroom, they encountered a grisly scene. Johnny Ray Baxter lay on the floor, surrounded by a pool of blood. He had been bludgeoned to death with a hammer, which lay nearby, covered in blood. The walls and furniture were splattered with blood, reflecting the violence of the attack. Detective Kinsey identified the hammer as the murder weapon and instructed that it be bagged as evidence. The crime scene was chaotic and disturbing. Detectives and forensic team members took numerous photos and collected samples, using gloves to handle items carefully to avoid contaminating any evidence. Blood samples, fingerprints, and the hammer were collected and sent to the lab for analysis. Outside, neighbors watched as the police worked, while local news stations KFSM and NUA reported on the shocking murder. Reporters interviewed neighbors who described Johnny Ray as a friendly and well-liked man. The intense media coverage added pressure to solve the case swiftly. Detectives Kinsey and Carter interviewed Michael Everly, who remained visibly shaken from discovering the body. Michael described finding the door unlocked and the mess inside the house. His detailed account helped the detectives piece together the events leading up to the murder. By the end of the day, the police had collected a substantial amount of evidence, but still had many unanswered questions. Who could have committed such a brutal act? And why would someone want to kill Johnny Ray? The detectives knew they faced a challenging case but were determined to uncover the truth. The first suspect in Johnny Ray Baxter's murder was his wife, Darlene Baxter. At 34 years old, Darlene worked as an accountant for a local firm, Razorback Accounting. Darlene was intelligent, meticulous, and hardworking. She had a difficult past, becoming a mother at 16 and working as a stripper to support herself and her daughter, Lily. Despite these challenges, Darlene built a successful career and was known for her strong-willed nature. Recently, she had noticed changes in her daughter Lily's behavior and had become suspicious of Johnny Ray's late-night work meetings. Friends and neighbors described Darlene as increasingly stressed and on edge in the weeks leading up to the murder. Some neighbors reported hearing arguments between Darlene and Johnny Ray. On April 13, 2015, Detectives Sarah Mitchell Kinsey and James Carter brought Darlene in for questioning. Although she appeared calm, it was clear she was distressed. Darlene maintained that she had been out of town visiting her sister Nancy in Little Rock. She provided photos and text messages to support her alibi, but the detectives remained skeptical. During the interrogation, Darlene discussed her relationship with Johnny Ray. Darlene admitted that they had been arguing more recently, mainly about his work and the time he spent away from home. She denied any involvement in his death, insisting she loved her husband despite their issues. The detectives questioned Darlene about her activities on the night of the murder. Darlene explained that she left for Little Rock on the afternoon of April 11th and stayed with Nancy until the morning of April 12th. Nancy confirmed this when the detectives contacted her. However, the detectives couldn't ignore the tension in Darlene's voice when she spoke about Johnny Ray and the changes she had noticed in Lily. The police searched Darlene's car and belongings for evidence, but found nothing directly linking her to the murder. However, they did discover a diary in which Darlene had written about her frustrations and suspicions. The entries revealed a woman under significant stress and emotional turmoil. Despite her alibi, Darlene remained a prime suspect. The detectives continued to investigate her background, interviewing friends, family, and co-workers in hopes of finding a motive or any clue that could link her to the crime. As the investigation continued, the pressure on Darlene grew, but she remained steadfast in her innocence. Despite a thorough investigation, many questions remained unanswered. The detectives knew they needed to keep digging to uncover the truth behind Johnny Ray's brutal murder. The second suspect in Johnny Ray Baxter's murder was his 18-year-old stepdaughter, Lily Adams. A freshman studying psychology at the University of Arkansas, Lily was known for her outgoing and friendly personality. Her friends described her as bright and ambitious, always eager to learn new things. Lily had a complicated relationship with her stepfather, Johnny Ray, which, as the investigation revealed, had turned into a secret affair. The affair left Lily feeling guilty and conflicted, particularly as she observed the strain it caused her mother, Darlene. Detectives Sarah Mitchell Kinsey and James Carter brought Lily in for questioning on April 14, 2015. Lily appeared nervous but was cooperative. Lily admitted to the affair with Johnny Ray, explaining that it began about 6 months earlier. She said she had been feeling lonely and confused, and Johnny Ray had offered support. She insisted she never wanted to hurt anyone. During the interrogation, Lily revealed that she had confided in a close friend about the affair and her feelings of guilt. This friend, whose name was not disclosed, confirmed Lily's account to the detectives. Lily described the last time she saw Johnny Ray, which was the night before his death. Lily said that they had argued about the affair and its impact on their family. When the detectives asked about her whereabouts on the night of the murder, Lily explained that she had been at a friend's house, studying for a midterm exam. Her friend confirmed this alibi, stating that Lily had stayed at their house until the early hours of April 12th. Despite the alibi, the detectives remained suspicious due to the emotional turmoil Lily was experiencing. The police also searched Lily's dorm room and belongings for any potential evidence. They found no direct evidence linking Lily to the murder but discovered several letters and notes exchanged between her and Johnny Ray. These notes revealed the depth of their relationship and the emotional struggles they both faced. Despite her alibi and the absence of direct evidence, Lily remained a prime suspect because of the affair and the emotional tension it had caused. The detectives kept interviewing Lily's friends and classmates, looking for inconsistencies or new leads. As the investigation progressed, the pressure on Lily intensified, but she continued to assert her innocence and expressed deep regret over the affair. Despite a thorough investigation, many questions remained unanswered. The detectives knew they needed to keep investigating to uncover the truth behind Johnny Ray Baxter's brutal murder. On April 17, 2015, 5 days after the murder, the police received a significant lead. On a cool, cloudy morning, a jogger found a suspicious item in the park near Beaver Lake. He noticed a plastic bag partially buried under some leaves near a bench. When he opened it, he discovered a blood-stained shirt and a pair of gloves. He immediately called the police, and within minutes, patrol officers Karen Lewis and Tom Martinez arrived at the scene. They secured the area and called in detectives Sarah Mitchell Kinsey and James Carter. The detectives quickly assessed the situation and collected the items for forensic analysis. While cautious, they were hopeful that this new evidence might provide a breakthrough in the case. The items were brought back to the Fayetteville Police Department's forensic lab. Analysts determined that the blood on the shirt matched Johnny Ray's DNA. Additionally, the gloves had fingerprints that did not belong to Johnny Ray. This new evidence shifted the focus of the investigation. The detectives revisited their list of suspects, re-examined their alibis, and reviewed surveillance footage from the park and surrounding areas. This thorough review led to a surprising discovery. A figure resembling Lily Adams was seen entering the park late on the night of the murder. Detectives Mitchell Kinsey and Carter brought Lily in for a second round of questioning. This time, Lily appeared visibly more nervous. She claimed she had gone to the park to clear her head and knew nothing about the bloody items. The detectives pressed her for more details, but Lily remained consistent in her story, though she was clearly unsettled. The forensic team continued their analysis and uncovered another critical piece of evidence: hair fibers on the gloves that matched Darlene Baxter's DNA. This discovery complicated the case further and suggested the possible involvement of both mother and daughter. On April 18, 2015, the detectives called Darlene back for questioning. She appeared calm but concerned when confronted with the new evidence. Darlene admitted to knowing about the gloves but insisted she had no involvement in the murder. Darlene said she had worn the gloves while gardening and couldn't explain how they ended up near Beaver Lake. The police were now more determined than ever to solve the case. They knew they were close to uncovering the truth, but needed to carefully piece together the final details. The discovery of new evidence marked a pivotal moment in the investigation, providing crucial leads and intensifying the search for Johnny Ray Baxter's murderer. The third suspect was Johnny Ray's ex-wife, Diddy Baxter. At 46, Diddy was known for her hot-tempered and aggressive nature. She had a contentious relationship with Johnny Ray and had never approved of his marriage to Darlene. Diddy lived in Fayetteville and worked as a manager at a local grocery store, Hart's Food Stores. Detectives Sarah Mitchell Kinsey and James Carter decided to bring Diddy in for questioning on April 19, 2015. When she arrived at the police station, Diddy appeared defiant and uncooperative. Diddy was known for speaking her mind and not holding back her opinions. During the interrogation, she admitted that her relationship with Johnny Ray had been rocky. She described their marriage as tumultuous and full of arguments. Diddy expressed strong dislike for Darlene, calling her a homewrecker and blaming her for the end of her marriage. Despite this, Diddy firmly denied any involvement in Johnny Ray's murder. The detectives questioned her about her whereabouts on the night of April 11, 2015. Diddy claimed she was at home, watching TV and drinking wine. She mentioned watching an episode of Dancing with the Stars and going to bed early. Since there were no witnesses to confirm her alibi, the detectives remained suspicious. The police searched Diddy's home for evidence linking her to the crime. They found several items of interest, including a set of gardening gloves similar to those found at the park. However, forensic analysis showed no blood or DNA on these gloves. Despite her alibi and the lack of direct evidence, the detectives continued to investigate Diddy's possible motive. They discovered that Diddy had recently learned about Johnny Ray's affair with Lily, which heightened her tension and anger. Friends and co-workers reported that Diddy had been particularly upset and vocal about the affair, frequently denouncing Johnny Ray and expressing her anger to anyone who would listen. The detectives also spoke with Diddy's neighbors, who reported hearing loud arguments coming from her house in the days leading up to the murder. Mrs. Everly, one of the neighbors, said she heard Diddy yelling about betrayal and lies. Despite Diddy remaining a suspect, the detectives struggled to gather sufficient evidence to charge her. Diddy was aggressive during the interrogation but maintained her innocence. The detectives knew they needed more concrete evidence to connect her to the crime. The investigation into Diddy Baxter added further complexity to the case as the detectives worked tirelessly to piece together the events leading to Johnny Ray's murder. On April 21, 2015, there was a breakthrough in Johnny Ray Baxter's murder case. After days of investigation, detectives Sarah Mitchell Kinsey and James Carter discovered a crucial piece of evidence. Surveillance footage from a nearby gas station showed Darlene Baxter driving toward Beaver Lake late on the night of the murder. This was a significant lead that contradicted Darlene's alibi. Detectives Mitchell Kinsey and Carter carefully reviewed the footage, which showed Darlene's blue Honda Civic passing the gas station around 11:30 p.m. on April 11th. This placed her near the crime scene at a critical time. With this new evidence, the detectives were confident they had found Johnny Ray's killer. On the morning of April 22, 2015, the police arrived at Darlene Baxter's workplace, Razorback Accounting. It was a sunny day, and local news stations, including KFSM and KNWA, were already covering the latest developments in the case. Darlene was in her office when the police arrived. She looked surprised but remained composed as they informed her of her arrest for the murder of her husband. As Darlene was led out in handcuffs, she continued to proclaim her innocence, but the evidence against her was compelling. The affair between Johnny Ray and Lily had pushed Darlene into a fit of rage. She felt deeply betrayed by both her husband and her daughter. The detectives believed that on the night of the murder, Darlene confronted Johnny Ray, and the argument turned violent. In a fit of rage, Darlene grabbed a hammer and struck him multiple times, leading to his death. Darlene's arrest shocked the community. Neighbors and friends were stunned that the hard-working, intelligent woman they knew could commit such a violent act. The news spread rapidly, with headlines in the Fayetteville Observer and segments on local news stations covering the arrest. Johnny Ray's family had mixed reactions to the shocking development. Some were relieved that the killer had been caught, while others were devastated by the betrayal. Lily was especially heartbroken, having lost both her stepfather and her mother in a matter of days. The emotional toll on the family was immense. As Darlene was taken to the police station, she continued to deny any involvement in the crime. Despite her denials, the detectives were confident in their findings. The surveillance footage, forensic evidence, and Darlene's conflicting statements created a strong case against her. The Fayetteville community was left to process the tragic events. Johnny Ray Baxter's murder revealed deep family secrets and had a lasting impact on everyone who knew him. The case was resolved, but the emotional scars would take much longer to heal. Darlene Baxter's trial for the murder of her husband, Johnny Ray Baxter, began on July 15, 2015, at the Washington County Courthouse in Fayetteville. The courtroom was filled with reporters from local news stations like KSSM and NOAA, as well as concerned members of the community. The prosecution was led by District Attorney Robert Stevens, a 45-year-old known for his toughness and determination in the courtroom. He argued that Darlene's motive for the murder stemmed from her discovery of the affair between Johnny Ray and Lily. Stevens portrayed Darlene as a woman driven to the edge by intense betrayal and emotional turmoil. He presented the surveillance footage showing Darlene's car near Beaver Lake, forensic evidence from the crime scene, and her conflicting statements to the police. In contrast, the defense was led by attorney Michelle Williams, a 39-year-old known for her calm demeanor and sharp legal skills. She argued that Darlene was innocent and claimed the evidence against her was circumstantial. Williams suggested that the murder could have been committed by someone else, driven by jealousy or anger. She questioned the reliability of the surveillance footage and noted the absence of witnesses who had seen Darlene commit the crime. Throughout the trial, Johnny Ray's family sat in the front row, their faces a mix of anger and sadness as they watched the proceedings unfold. Lily, in particular, struggled with the emotional weight of the trial. She had already lost her stepfather and now faced the possibility of losing her mother to a long prison sentence. After 2 weeks of testimony, the jury deliberated for 3 days before delivering their verdict. On August 3, 2015, the jury found Darlene Baxter guilty of first-degree murder. The atmosphere in the courtroom was tense as the verdict was announced. Darlene remained composed, while Johnny Ray's family cried and embraced each other. The local news quickly reported the verdict, and the Fayetteville Observer covered the story extensively. Judge Lisa Everly sentenced Darlene to life in prison without the possibility of parole. She emphasized that the evidence clearly demonstrated Darlene's guilt and that the crime stemmed from profound personal betrayal and anger. The judge expressed sympathy for Johnny Ray's family, hoping the sentence would provide them with some closure. Reactions to the verdict were mixed within the community. Some felt that justice had been served, while others thought the sentence was too severe. Given Darlene's troubled past and the intense emotional stress she faced, Johnny Ray's family found some relief in knowing that justice had been served and the person responsible for his death was held accountable. The trial and sentencing marked the end of a tragic period for the Baxter family and the Fayetteville community. While the murder and its repercussions had caused deep emotional wounds, the verdict offered a sense of closure and a step toward healing. After Darlene Baxter's trial and sentencing, life for those affected by Johnny Ray Baxter's murder began to stabilize. For Darlene, now serving her life sentence at the Arkansas Department of Correction, her daily existence was marked by strict routines and limited interactions. She received only occasional visits from family and friends, with her daily activities tightly regulated by prison rules. As the media coverage of the trial waned, Fayetteville moved on to other news stories and events, such as the annual Bikes, Blues BBQ motorcycle rally. Lily Adams, now 19, resumed her studies in psychology at the University of Arkansas. She grappled with intense feelings of guilt and grief over her involvement in the affair that had tragically contributed to her stepfather's death. Lily sought counseling to manage her grief and guilt and dedicated herself to her studies while volunteering at local animal shelters. She kept a low profile, avoiding media attention to focus on her personal healing and rebuilding family relationships. Meanwhile, Detective Sarah Mitchell Kinsey gained recognition for her role in solving the high-profile case, earning praise for her dedication and investigative skills. Detective Sarah Mitchell Kinsey remained with the Fayetteville Police Department, continuing to investigate cases and mentor junior detectives. Detective James Carter transferred to the Northwest Arkansas Drug Task Force, focusing on drug-related crimes in the region. In Fayetteville, the shadow of Johnny Ray's murder continued to affect the community, leaving a lasting impression on those who lived through the tragedy. Johnny Ray Baxter was remembered fondly by his neighbors and friends as a friendly, successful real estate agent with a passion for sailing on Beaver Lake. To honor his memory, the local Rotary Club organized a memorial service, and a plaque was placed at the Fayetteville Town Center to celebrate his life and contributions to the community. Johnny Ray's family, including his first wife Diddy, found comfort and support in each other as they navigated the aftermath of the tragedy. Diddy threw herself into her work at Hart's Food Stores and became active in local charity events, including the Susan G. Komen Race for the Cure in Bentonville. She remained committed to her family, supporting her grandchildren who missed their stepfather greatly. Over time, the community of Fayetteville began to heal, though the memory of Johnny Ray's tragic death continued to be a somber chapter in its history. The community rallied around the Baxter family, offering support as they navigated the aftermath of the ordeal. This tragic case of love, betrayal, and murder underscores the complexities of human relationships and the severe consequences of unchecked emotions. Thank you for joining us on this episode of Truthful Crimes. Stay tuned for more stories that explore the darkest corners of the human psyche. Until next time, stay safe.